Hi everyone and welcome to CS3 2022. My name is Christoph Dullig-Brenzinger from SeaTable, and in today's presentation I want to give you a concrete example how to use SeaTable for log analysis. So let's get started. So the name of my presentation is Find the Needle in the Haystack. How to log monitoring and analyzing and error handling can be done with SeaTable. So just a quick reminder, this is the second presentation on SeaTable during this year's CS3 Conference. On Thursday I already gave a status update and reported about the new features that make SeaTable a no-code platform. But today it will be a concrete example in the area of log analysis. So before we start with a concrete example, let's talk briefly about how new software is introduced in small teams usually. Well, most of the times it goes like this. The admin, or rather the employee with the most IT experience, just wants to install a new application. This usually starts with a Google search like the name of the application in the plus install and tutorial. And then he gets something from, I don't know, Ocean Digital or something. And he just executes all the requests, and after that a new application is installed. And the only test of the new application is like opening the browser, browsing to the new page or the new service, and as soon as he can log in and use the software, the job is just done. And well, he and his team, he used the application until it breaks. Usually there is no log monitoring or any error monitoring. Well, and the admin, he only looks at the logs again when something doesn't work. But it does not have to be that way. Of course, this is not the same for big companies where you have a dedicated IT department who has huge resources to implement new software and who has a standard process to add it to, I don't know, any log monitoring tool or process application monitoring tool. So don't get me wrong, I'm totally aware of that there are an incredible number of great software solutions out there. For example, Kibana, Greylog, CheckMK, Logly. Yeah, but maybe these solutions are a bit too powerful for just an ordinary small team or small organization, and a bit too inflexible, and probably they require too much administration effort on their own just to get a solution, to get the monitoring. So SeaTable might be an easier solution. And well, the content of this presentation is exactly to give you an understanding, a concrete understanding of how you can use SeaTable for log monitoring, log visualization, how you can work in a team as a team to find out what's wrong with your software and how to deal with these things. So let's jump into a demo system of SeaTable. But what I will do in this system is I will create a new structure. I will show you how to collect new errors. I will structure and visualize all the errors, and I will show you how to share the work, for example, with some teammates, that you can decide together what is really an error where you have to take care of, or what kind of errors can just be ignored. And in the end, I will just show how easy it is to extend the structure and start building a process. So let's start it. I just jump into our demo system, SeaTable demo, and I want to show you how easy it is to create a new structure. So for example, I just click on this plus, I say create a blank base, and I call this error logs number 2. Well, you can see I just prepared a base. I will jump to this later on, but I will start with the beginning from scratch. So I just have an empty table. And what I want to collect is, well, log monitoring for different services. Therefore, I will change the first column and I will just use single select for the different services. So this gives me the possibility to easily say, for example, I have errors for WordPress, or I have an error for, I don't know, API or something like this. So the second column will be a time column because I want to collect the exact time. So I call it time. And of course I have to get all the logs, and this will be just a long text. So this could be basically it. We have the first column differentiates the different services we get the errors from. The time column is just to collect the exact date when the error occurs. And in the log file, well, you have just the possibility later on to see what kind of error just occurs. Okay, so I will leave this base and just jump over to the error log base, because as I said, I just prepared this up front and I loaded it with about 6,000 or more than 6,000 records. Yeah, just to show you how fast it is to load the space and to just have some data to, well, to work with. Right now there are 4 services in it. Error log for SeaTable, our website. This is real error logging. I just copy it over. Most of these errors are just somebody who wants to access a website that does not exist and that throws an error like, well, 404 page does not exist. Then there's another area like alpha.ctable, where we do some development stuff where there are really PHP related errors, and I just add 2 more services, just for example errors API and Zaper. If I just scroll down, I can see there are just some random entries. Okay, so this is the structure, very easy. Now I want to switch to how to collect errors. I already told you that these are real errors from our web page, and I got these by a software called FileBeat. Some of you might know that. I just installed that on my server, and FileBeat FileBeat gets all the errors from the log files from the Nginx web server. It could also be Apache, and it just put it into Redis for caching, and then there's a Python script just to put it into C-file. I don't want to go into the details, but the installation is quite easy. It's just one configuration file where I have to add the API token I just created up front for the space. So this is just like a API token, the secret password I can use to use the API to write new errors into the space. So, but this should not be the part of the this presentation. I want to show you 2 other ways. The first one is I already created a ZAP in Zaper. Zaper is one of the automation platforms SeaTable is capable to work with, and it's just a very easy automation. Zaper provides me with a webhook, so this is the URL I just can call, and then I can define inside the ZAP what kind of information are written into my SeaTable account and what kind of information is written into the log files. And so you can see over here, I usually write just the IP address of the requesting call into the database. So let me just show how this looks like. So this is, we have 6,077 error logs, and I will just, well, I just prepared a small script, and you just can see it's just a curl request. Curl with against this webhook, and I just execute it. So let me just execute it sometimes. And you can see Zaper is doing all the magic in the background. It gets the request against the webhook and just adds here new columns. Okay, so this would be a very and easy and non-coding approach to get new errors inside the system. You just define where's what software should access this webhook and puts the data into SeaTable. The second one is you can use the SeaTable API. Also, therefore, I prepared a small script. This seems a little bit more complicated, but in the end, it's very easy. You can just upload the PHP-based SeaTable API via Composer. So, and then you just require the autoload function. You create initial setup or connection with the URL, a user, and a password. And then you use again this API token I already showed you to get access to the D table. And then you can see here's a loop, a for loop, and I just create 3 new entries. So we are now here at this point, and if I just API, so, no. And you can see just a second later, 3 new entries are over here. And let's check how fast it is not to add 3, but probably 300 new rows. So I will just update this 3 to 300. So, and let's run again. And you can see, oh, the records are just running fast. Okay, ready. So 300 new rows. So this could be, of course, much more complicated, but I just want to show you how fast the API, for example, is and how easy it is to add new rows to the system. So this was collecting errors. Now we have the situation, we have a very easy structure, we have some data collection possibilities, and we get new rows inside SeaTable. But well, it's quite easy to get a feeling for more than 6,000 rows. So what can we do to structure and visualize the errors? So first of all, I would say let's create a new view and call it group the logs. And we just start by grouping them. First, I say group them by the service. Now we can see, oh, we have account for all the different services. And then let's add a second ordering, use the time by month and up. And now we can see, okay, these are the different months. And here we see the number of errors for this month. So we can get a first overview of how many errors occurred at what time for which service. But an even more easy way to get a feeling for the error logs is, for example, using the advanced statistics in SeaTable. Oh, sorry, that was bad. I just want to show you how easy it is. So let's create new charts. The first one could be just a ring chart to show the percentage of the different services. So we use from the table errors, from the view default view. Now we take group by the logs, and we just group them by the service. And now you can see, as soon as I just select this group, we have a new chart showing us in total nearly 6,388 new errors we have. We have an error log, and we have 4,000 for alpha SeaTable.io, and just a small number for the API's error. So let's just show also legend, okay, others, okay, and the minimum is, okay, now we can see Zepa. Okay, this was the first chart, but let's go into the timeline. So we use a basic line chart, for example, and the x-axis is the time, but we don't want it by month, but by week. Oh, we can see there was a huge spike by the beginning of 2022. Okay, we should have a look at what happens over there. So two very easy charts just created within seconds to get a feeling about all this big data in this error logging. And just to show you how this error logging looks like, this is the concrete entry of the Nginx web server, which is just copied into SeaTable. So this was a kind of how to deal with this data to get a structure and to get more information out of it. Of course, we can also share this to our team members. So probably we have somebody who's only interested in the error log for SeaTable.io. So we create a new view and we say only error log. SeaTable.io. And we just share this. No, first of all, we filter by the service is error log SeaTable. Now we have only nearly 2,000 records, and this one can be shared easily to another user, for example, my brother. And I say read write access. No, he should only have read access, and I call this have a look and submit. And now my brother can see only this view out of the base error logs. So it's very easy to just share my information with somebody else. And now he has only read access, so he cannot acknowledge, for example, that this problem is not dramatic or has to be taken care of. But also I can just change the permission to read write, then he can really interact with this data. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is, of course, you can just enhance this structure. For example, we can add a rating, like a priority of this error type. So just add a new column, we call it rating. Okay, star is probably yes, but it should be red, and it should be a priority between 0 and 3. And okay, priority. Now we have a new column where we can easily just rate the errors. To get more, and we of course can use this priority for filtering, sorting, and grouping. So to focus really on the important errors in the space. So this was structuring and visualizing the errors. I shared my work with a team member and extended the structure and start building the process. Of course, you can just add notifications if something specific occurs where you want to get an email address. You can also create automations, like if something happens specifically, you can lock the rows so it cannot be changed anymore. This is all possible within C-File, but I think this goes over the content of this presentation. So let's jump to the last page. I think my summary is SeaTable may not be as powerful as a specialized software like Kibana or CheckMK, but I think you get a feeling about that no other solution is as flexible and as easy to use at the same time. So, well, I think we're now at the end of the presentation. I hope you enjoyed it and got a feeling about the possibilities. Yeah, you might have seen that it's easy enough to use SeaTable, and it just takes about 15 minutes to create a very fundamental or easy to use data analysis tool or data visualizing tool to make the data tangible. Yeah. Thanks a lot. That was Christoph from SeaTable with the concrete example about how to use SeaTable for log analysis. And now I'm happy to hear your questions. Thanks.